All right, today we are breaking down a tool that gives you a decisive edge in any high-stakes environment. And the best part? It costs nothing, it weighs nothing, and no one can ever take it away from you. Let's get right into it.
So, let me ask you a question. When everything is on the line, what is the one piece of gear you can absolutely 100% count on? Is it your rifle, your comms, maybe your sidearm? The answer? Probably isn't what you're thinking.
That's right. The single most powerful and reliable tool you have for performing under pressure is your own body. And mastering your physiology isn't some wellness fad, it is a critical operational skill. In this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to weaponize it.
Here's our mission brief for today. First, we're going to identify the enemy, stress, the performance killer. Then, we'll cover the countermeasure and the hard data that proves this thing actually works. After that, we'll get into practical application, and finally, how to make this skill a pure instinct.
Okay, let's start with the problem. Under extreme pressure, your body's natural fight-or-flight response kicks into high gear. Now, it's designed to keep you alive, sure, but in a tactical situation, it can become a serious liability.
So when that adrenaline hits, it directly messes with your effectiveness. Your heart rate skyrockets, cortisol, that's the stress hormone, floods your system, and what happens? You get tunnel vision. Your fine motor skills, the ones you need for a clean trigger press, they go right out the window, and your ability to make clear-headed decisions gets seriously impaired. You can't afford any of that.
So how do we fight back against our own biology? How do we stop the train from going off the rails? Well, we use a simple, incredibly powerful technique to manually, and I mean manually, take back control. Let's look at the countermeasure. This is what we call tactical breathing. You might have also heard it called box breathing. Look, this isn't about relaxation in some yoga class sense. This is about regulation. It's a direct intervention you use to force your body into a state of calm and control, even when the world around you is pure chaos. The technique itself is dead simple, which is exactly what you need when you're under duress. Just visualize a box. You're going to trace it with your breath. You inhale through your nose for a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold that breath for 4. Exhale fully through your mouth for 4, and hold at the bottom for 4. That's one cycle. You just repeat as needed. Simple, repeatable, and damn effective.
So what's actually happening here? Well, your breathing is basically the gear shift for your autonomic nervous system. The system that controls your heart rate, your blood pressure, all that stuff that usually just happens on its own. By controlling your breath with this 4x4 rhythm, you are manually downshifting your entire body from a state of panic back to a state of control. Now, this isn't some campfire theory or guesswork. This technique is backed by some serious, hard data. So let's take a look at what the research actually shows.
So, back in 2012, a study put soldiers into a 3D warfare simulation. The results were pretty incredible. The operators who used tactical breathing showed significantly lower heart rates and stress hormone levels compared to the guys who didn't. This proves it works right in the heat of the moment, when the pressure is on.
And the benefits aren't just for acute high-stress situations. A really recent study from 2023 found that practicing this technique regularly actually lowers your baseline, day-to-day anxiety. Think about that. It builds your resilience, making you mentally tougher before you even enter a stressful environment.
In this one, this really shows the tactical advantage. Another 2023 study found that soldiers who did some tactical breathing right before a marksmanship simulation were measurably more accurate. Let me say that again. Better breathing control directly translated to more shots on target. It's really that simple. So, let's just put it all together. Look at this table. The difference is just night and day. Without this technique, your metrics are all in the red zone, right? Heart rate is erratic, cortisol's high, you get that tunnel vision, and your accuracy suffers. But with tactical breathing, it's a total shift. Your heart rate is controlled, cortisol drops, your focus broadens, and your accuracy improves. The choice is pretty clear.
Okay, so we know what it is, and we know it works. Now for the most important part. Let's talk about putting it to work. When and where do you actually deploy this skill?
Think of this as just another tool in your kit. Use it right before an engagement to steady your hands and focus your mind. Use it during a casualty care situation to stay calm and execute those procedures correctly. Use it when you have seconds to make a life or death call. And hey, just as important, use it after a high-stress event to bring your system back down to baseline so you're ready for whatever comes next.
And all of that leads us to the final and honestly the most important point. This is not some magic trick you just pull out in an emergency. It's a skill, and like any skill, it must be honed.
For this technique to be there for you when you need it most, you have to build those neural pathways through repetition. If you only try to use it for the very first time in a real crisis, you're gonna fail. Practice builds instinct.
So here's the real takeaway. You need to make this a part of your regular battle rhythm. Practice it on the range before you shoot. Practice it during PT. Practice it before you go to sleep. You have to treat this with the same discipline you give to weapons maintenance or physical training because it is just as vital to your lethality and your survivability.
And it really all comes down to this one idea. True readiness is forged in routine. By practicing this skill when you are calm, you ensure it becomes an automatic, instinctive response when you are under fire. You weaponize your calm, making it a reliable tool that will never, ever fail you.